Hey sports fans, do you want to know when and where your favorite teams in the West Coast Conference are playing? Who won the game last night and what the current standings are? Well, it's easy to find out on westcoathletics.com. The information is entered by athletic directors and coaches so you know it's accurate and up to date, making westcoathletics.com the place to view official scores, schedules, standings, and photos for all the schools and all the sports in the West Coast Conference. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook and check out westcoathletics.com, the official website of the West Coast Conference.
Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing for 24-hour service. Owned by a lifetime Edmonds resident and Edmonds Woodway grad, Action Jackson is the drain cleaning specialist. They can unclog most internal drains for only $99 plus tax. Call 425-877-5601 or visit actionjacksonplumbing.com.
who won the game last night and what the current standings are? Well, it's easy to find out on westcoathletics.com. The information is entered by athletic directors and coaches, so you know it's accurate and up to date, making westcoathletics.com the place to view official scores, schedules, standings, and photos for all the schools and all the sports in the Westco Conference. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook and check out westcoathletics.com, the official website of the Westco Conference. Hey sports fans, do you want to know when and where your favorite teams in the West Coast Conference are playing? Who won the game last night and what the current standings are? Well, it's easy to find out on westcoathletics.com. The information is entered by athletic directors and coaches, so you know it's accurate and up to date, making westcoathletics.com the place to view official scores, schedules, standings, and photos for all the schools and all the sports in the West Coast Conference. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook and check out westcoathletics.com, the official website of the West Coast Conference.
And here we go into the bottom of the third inning. The Hawks 7, the Tomahawks 0. Get you caught up on a few other games going on around us here right now. All 4 games in the Wesco 3A South happening within feet. Psychologically, it definitely matters. Swung on and missed. Lukatich becomes the third strikeout victim of the game for Calhoun. And with that, that is another strikeout for our strikeout sponsor, Icelandic Construction. New homes and rebuilding, Icelandic Construction, and we thank them for all of their support over the last 2 years. And that will bring up the senior playing center field, number 5, Sarah Flynn. Flynn hitting the first pitch down the first baseline, foul. Out of play, 0-1 is the count. Calhoun looking in, winds and throws. Hits that one to second base, gets by Wilcox into right field, base hit for Flynn. She's standing up over on first base, and we now head back to the top of the lineup as everybody on this Pilchuck Tomahawks team is now batted, and that will bring up Caitlin Wilgus. Wilgus led off the game striking out on a 3-2 count. The senior now looking at her second at bat. Calhoun winds and throws. Wilgus looking to bunt that one, hits it foul. 0-1 is the count. We mentioned this before, and it's always a big factor. The thing about Wesco, or I should say Northwest districts, it's always nice to win a championship, but if you get to the championship game, that game does not become as important as 3 teams go to state.
Right.
And in softball, they reseed anyway. So really, if you win 2 games today, you win this game if you're Mount Lake Terrace, and then if you can win the game following right around 6 o'clock, give or take, you'd come back here on Thursday to play a championship game, but win or lose, you're still going to be in the state tournament, which is exactly what happened last year to Mount Lake Terrace. Having said that, you always want to put that plaque up in the gym that says you won districts.
Sure.
But it sure would take off a lot more pressure. And coming into this game, as we mentioned earlier, Marysville Pilchuck beating Mount Lake Terrace in each of the 2 previous meetings this year. So you figured this was kind of a pick'em game anyway. Mm-hmm. This would be a very large obstacle to overcome and could put the Hawks 1 game away from going to state if they can win tonight. And Ferndale just hit a home run over here. I'm not sure how many runners were on base as we look over there.
Would appear just 1?
I think there's 2. At least 2, it looks like. So Ferndale now ahead of Stanwood 3-0. So if these 2 games hold up, we could be looking at a Mount Lake Terrace Ferndale showdown here later on this afternoon. 2-2 count right now to Wilgus. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. And she has struck out for the second time today. Calhoun's 4th strikeout overall. And once again, that is another strikeout for our strikeout sponsor, Icelandic Construction. Kayla Taco coming up for her second at bat. Taco grounded out to second base in the first inning. That time there was nobody on base. This time she's got Flynn standing over on first. Hits that one right over Christensen's head into left field where it bounces in front of Carricker. She fields it and gets it back into play. Taco with a nice single, moving Flynn down to second base. And that will bring up the junior, number 11, Abigail Otto.
Yeah, Taco going the opposite way there. Maddie playing, kind of cheating in a little bit. I think if she'd have been playing true shortstop position with a right-hander up there, she probably would have made that catch. But she was up a little bit, trying to cut off anything, little dribbler past the mound.
Otto hits that one into center field. Aversano heading back. It goes over her head, hits the base of the fence. 1 run is already in. They're waving the second run in. The throw to the plate, not in time. And just like that, the Marysville Pilchuck Tomahawks are on the board for 2, cutting that Terrace lead down to 5.
So Calhoun making a little bit of a mistake pitch there, just letting the ball just go right over the center of the plate there at about belt height. And that's the first time she's sort of thrown a flat pitch. I mentioned earlier, Steve, that there's just been all kinds of movement on her pitch, especially as we're looking at it, left to right, and that one was just on a plate.
Brings up Kylie Lopez right now. Lopez batting in that cleanup spot, so you know she's got some power. Don't have any stats in front of me for her. However, I do know that when we were looking at the doubles leaders in the Everett Herald last week, she did have, I believe it was 7 or 8. She's one of the league leaders in doubles. So we know that she can do some damage if she gets a hold of one, and she's looking at a 1-0 count already. Hits that one towards shortstop. Christensen fields it, throws it across the diamond, and we get the third out. Pilchuck is able to get 2 runs here in the bottom of the third. We head to the fourth. Mountain Lake Terrace 7, Marysville Pilchuck 2. You are watching the Sound Live Sports Network.
Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing 24-hour service. Owned by a lifetime. $99. Call 42877-501. Plumbing.
And here we go into the fourth inning of play. Mountain Lake Terrace, thanks to a 6-run first inning, still ahead of Marysville Pilchuck 7-2. And leading off the fourth inning, the first baseman, Ashley Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald will be followed by Maddie Christensen and Hannah Wilcox. One-0 count. Outside, ball 2-0. Fitzgerald, a sophomore, did not play for the team last year. She's made a nice little entry into this program this year. Batted .448 for the season, .655 slugging percentage. Had 8 doubles. We know that she can hit a little bit. 2-1 count. Chops that one over to second base. Nicely fielded by Phelps.
Very nice play.
Tosses it to Larson, and there's one away.
That's definitely something we should talk about, Steve. If those of you who followed the program last year, the fact that the Hawks made it to state was absolutely wonderful, but what you may not have known is how few players were actually in the program, let alone on the varsity team. And looking down in the dugout, I know that we're up to bat, so there are more bodies in the dugout right now, but boy, it's sure a lot of fun to see how many girls came out this year to participate. And it's pretty infectious when you would agree, Steve.
Loser out game against Enumclaw. Hannah hit a home run one inning. I believe the Hawks were down by 2 at the time, and it tied up the game. And then she comes up the next inning and hits a grand slam home run to win the game by 4. Not a walk-off home run, but it was a home run in the top of the 6th inning, and it was the difference in the game. And
oh, by the way, I seem to remember you calling a couple 2-3 games down at the old Tacoma Dome that year too, for men's basketball. And you're saying that might have been a little bit more exciting. Boy, that's a tough call, but I have to go with you on that one.
You know, I think we broadcasted 57th and Sporting Events last year. The one that comes to my mind right off the bat is the Enumclaw softball game, to be honest.
Crazy? Yeah.
I would have never thought that going into the year, but it was certainly Hawks fell behind. I believe it was 7-2 at one point.
Right.
I hate to say that because that's the score of this game right now. And they came back to win 12-8. They scored 10 runs in the final 3 innings.
Right, in dramatic fashion.
Yeah, 2 grand slams, one by Hannah Beisch, one by Renee Boss.
Right.
And then Beisch and Boss also hit solo home runs, I guess they were, now that I think about it. So the 2 of them in back-to-back innings each had home runs. As another walk as Beisch heads on down to third. And that was against one of the best pitchers in the state at the time, too.
Yeah.
And it was amazing, and that was a lot of fun. And hey, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, if things keep going the way they are right now, we'll get back to
and coaches so you know it's accurate and up to date, making westcoathletics.com the place to view official scores, schedules, standings, and photos for all the schools and all the sports in the Westco Conference. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook and check out westcoathletics.com, the official website of the Westco Conference.
Heading into the bottom of the 4th, Mount Lake Terrace with a 7-2 lead. 2 great plays there at the end of the inning. One, a double play by Marysville Pilchuck to get out of the inning. And then our own Michael Ginterman making a nice play on the camera, running down there and fixing the home plate camera. And give a lot of credit to all the students for at HBN working here on the Sound Live Sports Network, along with Angelo Camo. Anna, who's also helping us today. Who else we got? Chris? He just keeps feeding me names, and I just keep saying them. Ball 2-0. So Angelo Camo back at it once again. Good to have the big fella up here with us and bringing us more Mount Lake Terrace athletics, playoff athletics at that. 2-0 count. Hit right back to Calhoun. Fires it over to Fitzgerald. And Carly Albertson is out to lead off the 4th inning of play.
Not an easy play, by the way. We saw last year in particular in the broadcast a lot of pitchers having trouble. They're up there throwing underhand, dozens of reps, and then all of a sudden the ball's hit you. Now you got to turn the thing over and throw overhand. I'm not so sure it would be better just to underhand it over there.
Yeah, we've it's from up here it looks easy, but we've seen far too often that it's not. Like you mentioned, and Calhoun seems to be very poised out there. Only a freshman. She's pitching well and playing her position just as well with the glove. She now has 1 strike on sophomore Hannah Larson in this at-bat here. Swung on and missed. Strike 2 for Larson.
I guess it would be somewhat analogous to a baseball player, an infielder forced into making an underhand throw and making it accurately and timely because you're used to throwing overhand all the time. I guess you could think of it that way.
I never had, but you're absolutely right when you put it that way. Ball is popped up against the fence and out of play. Speaking of baseball,
a
little something going on down in Bellevue this Saturday, right?
Bannerwood Park down there. The Hawks taking on Columbia River. A couple of number 2 seeds facing each other. The Hawks will be the visiting team, and I haven't heard who's going to be the starting pitcher for that one yet, but pretty exciting.
Very exciting stuff as that ball is hit right back to Calhoun again. We didn't jinx her. She throws it over to Fitzgerald. Deja vu from the last play there, and Larson is out 2 away. So, Mount Lake Terrace Hawks baseball finishing 2nd in districts, losing to Glacier Peak the other day. And second time in, 3 years they've gone to state now?
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And, going into this season, the youth on this team was the big question mark. And, boy, they've stepped it up. And Coach Waters and his whole coaching staff have got the Hawks humming right along at the right time of the year.
Ball is fouled down the first baseline, 0-1. Yeah, I was talking to Andrew after the game the other day, and he seems very pleased with the fact that this team made it to state. As you mentioned, it's a young team, only 4 seniors on the entire squad.
That's right.
You hesitate to say they're playing with house money at this point, but I think anything beyond this is kind of gravy. And you're happy to be there, but if you're going to go, you might as well try to win, right? So we'll see. It's single elimination, 16 teams left.
I know. That's one thing that I have to say. I wish that the baseball folks at WIAA might reconsider. Softball plays a double elimination, and it's really exciting. And I know that things might be a little bit different in terms of arms, but you know what? They're playing a doubleheader on Saturday if you win anyway.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
And I will correct one thing you just said there. Softball plays a single elimination to win the championship.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying that.
Yeah, double elimination to play for seeding or placement.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. I mean, yeah, if you lose, you're not going to win the championship, but 16 teams earn that spot, and then you're one and done.
Right.
I mean, you didn't do that in basketball. I guess football is the only other one that I can think of in men's sports that you're one and done. But.
And you have to in football, really, with all the contact.
Sure.
So yeah, you're absolutely right. That would change things a little bit. But having said that, it does make it very interesting when you're watching a game, knowing that only one of the two teams is advancing to the next round.
Well, I can tell you one thing for sure: it definitely changes how you coach a game and what you do in that game, knowing that it's one and done.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not that you'd want to lose in a double elimination tournament, because, like you say, you can't win the championship then. But
single into right field, and Phelps getting her first base hit of the game with 2 outs. That's going to bring up Megan Lukatic for her second at bat. Yeah, so I should point out, 4 different regions hosting 4 different teams.
Right.
Double header for these teams on Saturday. So really by the end of Saturday, we'll go from 16 teams to 4 teams.
Yep.
So Mount Terrace is playing at Bannerwood. They will be playing a 10 a.m. game over in Bellevue, Bannerwood Park, against Columbia River. And I might need your help on this next one. I know it's O'Day, and I don't remember who O'Day's opponent is right now. Playing at 1 o'clock.
I can't remember either. That's terrible.
I will say this, not to get ahead, but O'Day is one of the best teams in the state.
That's probably why I wasn't thinking. I was like, okay, it's going to be O'Day.
I'm going to be honest. I was thinking the same thing. O'Day is very, very strong, and I think the assumption is that O'Day moves on to that next round. So at 4 o'clock, the winner of those 2 games will play each other for the right to go to the Final Four.
Right.
So if you get a chance, and we haven't talked about this yet, we may or may not be broadcasting on Saturday. Probably not, but that might change. So it's a 10 a.m. game, Bannerwood Park in Bellevue. We invite everybody to go to that game. If the Hawks win that game, they play again at 4 p.m., also at Bannerwood Park. And if they win that game, they're one of the 4 teams left competing for the state championship, which is in Pasco the week after.
Which, incidentally, once you get to the Final Four, it is sort of a double elimination. You're going to play that first game, and then if you lose it, you're still playing for third and fourth, which, again, little head scratcher there is why we just don't do the whole thing that way. But
strike one called to Lukatic.
And that's coming from a father of a baseball player who likes to see baseball being played. So.
Oh, and by the way, I'll point out that the one thing I do like about the fact that it is this format, really it favors teams with 2 really strong starting pitchers because you have to use 2 that day.
Yep.
And Malik Terrace, since you mentioned your son, as Lukatic swings and misses at strike 2, Dominic DeMiro, your son, and then also Danny Tice.
Oh, yeah.
And those 2 are about as good as it gets in Wesco in terms of a 1-2 punch.
Yep.
Both with ERAs under 2.5, I think, or whatever it is. And I always feel good when those 2 guys are on the mound. So hey, anything can happen on Saturday, and it should be a fun morning and hopefully a fun afternoon. We'll see.
Wow, that was a close pitch, wasn't it?
Very close, and they call ball 4. So Lukatic trots on down to first base. 2 on, 2 out, and that is going to bring up the senior, number 5, Sarah Flynn.
This is a part of the game here where Callan just needs to focus and get this next out and get back in and pick up the bats.
And you're looking at the 7 and 8 hitters. This is the number 9 hitter right now. You don't want to go to the top of the lineup again, and they just did. Harder throws that one into right field. Coming in to score is Phelps. Lukatic heads on down to third base. And what was once a very comfortable 7-0 lead is now 7-3 with runners on the corners, and we're heading back to the top of the lineup.
Yeah, that's what happens. You give teams extra outs, and they start putting runs on the board, and then the pressure shifts a little bit. I'm not so sure Sammy shouldn't have just taken that one over to first base. And it was hit a little bit slowly, but I thought the runner had a really good jump from first to second there, and that may have caused first off, the second baseman didn't get to second very quickly. She might have been, is that Fitzgerald out there, might have been caught off guard a little bit thinking that ball was just going to go to first.
Yeah, that's a tough throw when you're going across your body from third, and in softball in particular, where you're playing usually on the infield grass a little bit.
Right.
Having to throw that ball when you're a right-hander across your body over to second base.
Very difficult throw.
As you're on the move, and we just saw it there as it sails into right field, and unfortunately, instead of getting that third out, Marysville picks up a run, and Caitlin Wilgus, who has struck out twice already today, is up for her third at bat. One and one is the count to Wilgus. Calhoun winds and throws. Strike two, inside corner. Nice pitch by Gabby.
I think that's a great pitch. I think you throw that one again. Jammer a little bit.
And here we are into the top of the fifth inning. Hawks with a 7-3 lead still. Sammy Harder stepping to the plate for the third time today. Hits that one off the inside of the bat. Easy play over there for Taco at shortstop. Popped up into the air. Harder is out, and that will bring up Cassandra Carricker.
Well, last year, Cassandra was almost exclusively a little slap hitter and was dangerous laying down a bunt or just that softball slap type of hit. I haven't seen that yet from her today.
Yeah, she's been doing that a little less lately. I will say this, she's got a good eye at the plate. She's walked 7 times this year in 39 at-bats, so she's certainly done a nice job of finding a way to get on base. Doesn't always get base hits, but has raised her on-base percentage through. And she's already looking at a 1-0 count here in the fifth inning. Outside and high, ball 2. 2-0 is the count to Gabby.
Kind of interesting here with 2 outs, showing bunt a little bit just to see what the third baseman's going to do. And the third baseman's staying home, so that's kind of an interesting little strategy maybe.
We'll see what happens here. Pulls the bat back, hits it into the gap in right center field. That's going all the way to the fence. Carricker comes in to score. Calhoun standing up with the RBI double. Hawks with the 8-3 lead.
What a shot, man. That just on a P right into dead right center. Good for her, helping herself out. 8-3 now. Hawks up, top of 5.
And you know, with the Hawks scoring 7 runs in the first 2 innings, maybe helps the confidence a little bit there too. They'd been shut out the third and the fourth.
Right.
Had that 7-run lead cut down to 4 and
yeah, had the bases loaded.
Yeah, hadn't really been able to get much going since then. And Calhoun makes sure they get a run. That ball is grounded over to third base. Larson fields it, touches the base herself. Fitzgerald is out, and we are out of the inning, but not before the Hawks get another run. We head to the bottom of the fifth. Mount Lake Terrace 8, Marysville Pilchuck 3. You are watching the Sound Live Sports Network.
Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing for 24-hour service. Owned by a...
That one was. Hannah wanted to know, too.
Umpire says it's a ball, so we'll go with that. Taco 1 for 2 on the day already. Grounded out to second in the first and had a single in the third. She later came around to score. Fouls that one off. 1-1 is the count to the junior. Looking around here, the first round games, not the most dramatic of games so far today. Meadowdale already beating Marysville Getchell 12-2. I think that might have been a 5-inning, 10-run rule game. Ferndale with a 9-0 lead on Stanwood just to our right. As Taco lines that one right back up the middle. Base hit, and she stands over on first base. Leadoff single, and that will bring up Kylie Lopez, the catcher. And then the game that's going on behind us, do not have a score on it, but I know that Glacier Peak is beating Everett. I want to say it was 6-1 or 7-1 a minute ago, give or take. So it's a 6-1. And that ball is batted off. So Taco singling right up the middle to lead off this inning.
Yeah, it was a good piece of hitting. Not trying to do too much with the ball, just get it over the pitcher, and you've got a single.
So Lopez has been thrown out by Christensen at shortstop in both of her at-bats today. 6-3 in the second inning, 6-3 in the third inning, for those of you scoring at home. Ball gets away from Beisch, and on the play, Taco very easily trotting down.
Yep. First wild pitch that I can recall, Steve Calhoun.
First wild pitch or passed ball with a runner on base for the Hawks today. So Beisch doing a very good job behind the plate. We were talking about it earlier, the transition for her and why they took a very good third baseman and put her over at the catcher position, and that's why. Hannah's been very solid this year behind the plate. Fields that one very cleanly. Strike 2 to Lopez. Or I'm sorry, to Otto.
Yeah.
I'm already on to the next batter. This is Abby Otto.
This is Abby Otto.
Batting right now. Yeah. Kylie Lopez is on deck. 1-2 count. High ball 2, 2-2.
You think Hannah's maybe playing with Taco just a little bit there. Seeing if she might bite and try to make her way down to third.
It's a good strategy on her part if it ends up working here, but I think Taco also a fairly heady player. She knew better. She stays right where she's at. But yeah, I definitely think there was a little bit of that going on there. Swung on and missed. Strike. So Albertson back at the plate. Taco still standing over on second. Calhoun winds. Gets her to foul that one off. 0-2. Nice inside pitch.
Oh, great adjustment.
So Lopez, or Albertson rather.
You got an inside-out swing here. She just took you almost probably a double down the right field line. So what do? You come back in right on her hands. See if you can take that one inside out.
Comes the 0-2 pitch. A little bit high. Ball 1-2. Stanwood with a couple of runs in already. 2 runners on as well. 6th inning over there. They're still down 9-2, so they've got a ways to go, but certainly making that game a little more interesting. Ball is hit back to Wilcox at second. She throws over to first. Not in time. Nice play by Hannah to even get that throw off, as that ball had a little bit of spin on it.
Saved a run, too.
Did save a run by not letting it go into the outfield. So runners at the corner and 2 outs. And that brings up Larson. Eight to 3 here. Mount Lake Terrace with the 5-run lead. 2 outs, bottom of the 5th inning. Terrace in the field wearing the road gray uniforms. Pilchuck, the home team, wearing the red and white. Ball 1-0 is the count. Some significance over here in this other game, too, if in fact Mount Lake Terrace ends up playing Ferndale next. Ferndale was 1 batter away from 10 running that game.
A single away, pretty much. Yeah.
They had a runner on second base with a 9-0 lead in the 5th inning. And that ball is singled into left field. Nice RBI by Larson.
Yep.
Taco comes in to score, and all of a sudden this game's 8-4.
Once again with 2 outs. Pilchuck making something happen. Credit them. Not easy to do with 2 outs, and they're finding a way.
And they're doing it at the lower part of the lineup, too, right now.
That's a good point.
Phelps comes up now. She's batting in the 7 spot. Softball, a sport where a lot of teams have depth issues and have trouble getting a lot of offense out of the lower part of the lineup. They've gotten a few base hits and runs today from this Pilchuck team. And just as we say that, there's another ball hit into right field. This time it is, in fact, inside the line. It is fair. Coming in to score on the play is Albertson. And what was once a 7-run lead is now only 3, as it is now 8-5. And all of a sudden, Marysville Pilchuck brings the tying run to the plate. You're looking at a designated hitter, Megan Lukatic, who's coming up. Lukatic striking out in the 3rd, walking in the 4th. She could really do some damage here right now.
Yeah, this is that part of the game where you just don't want anything to get out of hand. You got 2 outs. You shut this thing down and get back into hitting, and you want to give up any more runs here.
Yeah, you're 1 out away from getting this thing into the 6th inning, and certainly biggest game of the year. It's a district game. You put up a 7-run lead in the first 2 innings.
Yeah.
You would hate to see a team lose a game like that. And what we once thought was possibly an insurmountable lead. Calhoun looks in, gets the sign, and pitches. Swung on and missed. A huge strikeout. Hawks getting out of this inning without any more damage, and that strikeout is brought to you by our strikeout sponsor, Icelandic Construction. We're through 5 innings of play. The Mount Lake Terrace Hawks 8, the Marysville Pilchuck Tomahawks 5. You are watching the Sound Live Sports Network.
Hey sports fans, do you want to know when and where your favorite teams in the West Coast Conference are playing? Who won the game last night and what the current standings are? Well, it's easy to find out on westcoathletics.com. The information is entered by athletic directors and coaches, so you know it's accurate and up to date, making westcoathletics.com the place to view official scores, schedules, standings, and photos for all the schools and all the sports in the West Coast Conference. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook and check out westcoathletics.com, the official website of the West Coast Conference.
Strikes. There's another one.
Beisch hits that one into shallow center field. It's going to drop in between everybody. Wilcox sliding into second base, and we've got the bases full with nobody out, and that's going to bring up Amanda Aversano.
Well, here's a chance for the Hawks to really do some damage. Just got to play smart here. Put the ball in play, make Marysville Pilchuck have to make a play, and also be patient at the plate. They've been swinging early in the count. Here's a chance now, or here's a time where you might want to be a little bit more picky at the plate and force the pressure onto the pitcher to serve up your pitch.
And Aversano in her last at-bat came up with the bases loaded, and unfortunately there was one out at the time, and she grounded right back to the pitcher, who converted that into a 1-2-3 double play. She can stay away from that this time. The Hawks should get at least 1 run. Hits that one over to third base. Coming home on the play is Otto. Very nice play as she fires that one over to Lopez. Gets Christensen on the force out at the plate. Bases are still full. However, there's now 1 out.
That's about the worst thing you could do there, is to serve up something easy that they can bring home.
And that brings up Sammy Harder. Harder with a 3-run double in the first inning. Sure would be nice to get something similar this time around as Harder on the season. Looking at the stats quickly. Came into this game with 12 RBI. She's already got 3 today. Inside. 1-0 is the count to Harder.
You know, it's interesting, as Rasmussen is going to call time and so she can talk to Harder, but, you know, there's a situation there. I remember, you know, especially coaching the younger kids, to understand when to get out of the way of a pitch and when to, you know, turn and allow the pitch to hit you if need be. You know, you don't want anybody to get hurt, but if you learn how to appropriately turn away from the pitch and get your bat out of the way, I mean, there's a run right there. And, you know, I'm not saying that that's always a great strategy, but
getting hit by a pitch hurts a lot less when there's bases loaded, right?
Oh, it hurts almost not at all.
Knowing that you picked up an RBI, it's that sting.
It takes the sting right out.
Yeah, I don't know if it takes it right out, but it's a lot less painful. Ball 2-0. Glacier Peak continues to lead Everett. I believe it was a 5-run lead last time we heard. Ball 2-0, and all of a sudden Willard is having some control issues.
Yeah. Again, I think this is a great time to just make her pitch. You know, eventually a pitcher is going to have to come over the plate unless they want to walk you again. She doesn't want to do that.
Bounces that one up 3-0, and she's now one pitch away from walking in another run.
I can guarantee you I'm taking 2 pitches here.
Yeah, and we talked about it earlier. Really, the lower part of the lineup, you don't want to give them easy runs. And
exactly.
Carricker bats 8th, Bruce is up 9th, and then you get to the really call a strike that time as she catches the corner.
Yep.
You don't want that lineup coming back around with the bases full, and all of a sudden you're looking at Calhoun, Fitzgerald, Christensen, Wilcox, Beisch.
Yeah, with men on.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's definitely not the time to do it.
I'd still take this pitch. Or not.
Swings at that one, hits it over to second base.
Still does the job, right?
Gets a run in as the putout is made at first base. Carricker picks up an RBI. 10-5 now. Hawks doubling up Pilchuck here in the 6th inning, and that's going to bring up Megan Bruce.
So here's another opportunity for Megan to make something good happen from the bottom part of the order. She has a real strong tendency to hit the ball the opposite way.
Hits that one foul. 0-1 is the count.
And by the way, the right fielder is definitely shading towards center. So if Megan is able to get it over the first baseman's head, this could score 2.
Gabby Calhoun, the leadoff hitter, on deck right now. Runners on second and third. Inside ball one, the throw down to third base.
Oh, my.
They call Aversano out. I didn't think that throw was even close. But then again, I'm not the umpire, so Aversano is out. The Hawks, however, do some damage here in the top of the 6th. They get 2 more runs. They lead 10-5. We head to the bottom half of the inning. You are watching the Sound Live Sports Network. I think we might have a special guest joining us here in a minute as well. We just talked somebody into walking up the stairs here. Little, I say blast from the past being 1 year ago as Maddie Christensen fields that one, fires it over to first, 1 away. And Flynn is out, and that will bring up Caitlin Wilgus. Calhoun pitching herself one heck of a game, and the lady right behind us here, she knows a thing or two about pitching from Mount Lake Terrace. As we get the microphone out here, make sure that we've got it on there. We're gonna have you come on the air with us, Renee Boss. So Renee Boss, our star pitcher from last year, joining us here for a few minutes. Renee, a student at Seton Hall University in New Jersey. What are you doing here? You got to put that microphone up to me. There we go. Home for summer. Okay. Are we plugged in there?
Yeah, we're good.
There we go. You remember anything about playing here last year?
Yeah. In fact, I just watched our state replay last week online.
All right.
Which games were you watching? The big ones?
The one where we were down by about 7 runs.
Steve and I were just talking about that game.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of our highlights of all of last year for Hawk Sports.
I wonder why Renee would watch that game. Solo home run one inning, grand slam home run the next. I can see where you might go back and watch yourself. You deserve that one. 0-2 count. Ball 1-1-2.
Seton Hall?
Yeah.
What's that like?
It's fun.
Good.
It's something.
What's the mascot at Seton Hall?
Pirate.
The Pirates. Okay.
And you know what, Renee? You know what I heard Renee's doing there? She's not playing softball there.
What the heck?
But she is involved in sports. Strike 3, swung on and missed, and Kilgus, the leadoff hitter, has struck out for the fourth time today. And this strikeout is brought to you by our strikeout sponsor, Icelandic Construction. So you're not playing sports there, but you're involved in sports? What in the heck are you doing there?
I am a cheerleader.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, you cheered at Terrace, didn't you?
Yeah, I did my senior year.
Yeah.
I actually might walk on. I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. Do they have a pretty good program there?
Yeah. D1, Big East. They're doing things. So maybe.
Well, Big East cheerleader is pretty cool, too, your freshman year.
Yeah, that's fun.
Would you be able to do both if you did that? Or? Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. So
now
what do you think you're going to be majoring in there?
Business administration with a
Good for
focus
you.
in management.
Good for you. Fantastic.
You'll see me at Boeing.
Oh, yeah?
Big lawyer someday.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, my sister-in-law's
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you, a lot of people in the community, I'll throw myself in there. I'm not taking any credit, but I talked it up big time, too. Every time I saw a young woman out there playing softball or looking like she was a softball player, I said, why aren't you out there for the Hawks?
Thank you.
So you guys set the table.
This program's been through a lot.
Yes, it has. Yep.
It's kind of been on the back burner, I would say, for a while.
Yep.
And
Yep.
these last few years, especially with you guys filming it and whatnot,
Yeah.
it's really come alive and everyone knows about it now. It's nice.
Absolutely.
Well,
Yeah.
and we talked about it a little bit earlier, but maybe you can speak to it from a different angle. Shannon Rasmussen gets a lot of credit for that, right? And what's
Yes.
it like to play for her?
It's actually pretty awesome playing for her. She's always happy. Always.
As a coach,
Like-
I can't relate to that.
She is so positive, and with this year coming in, she wanted as many girls as she could,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
she did it. I mean, she recruited everyone she could. Flyers,
Yep.
open gyms,
That's right.
everything. It was all Shannon and her word of mouth, and if a coach is dedicated like her, then she'll make it happen, and she did, and look where we are now,
Yep.
winning 10-5.
And you
in our
mentioned
first playoff
and you mentioned a JV team. We had a C team also this
Yeah.
year, so we actually
What?
had three.
Crazy.
Yeah, we had three teams this
Wow.
year. Coach,
I
Going
did not
from
know that.
but I had Kira, and unfortunately she got the injury, but it was a lot of fun to just follow softball through their eyes and see
Yeah.
that they can see that there's another 3 years for them here.
Definitely.
another foul ball. 1 and 2 is still the
And
count.
softball is
to
one of
Lopez.
those sports where you can come in not knowing anything and leave your senior year being such a great player.
Yeah, if you're a good athlete, you put in the time, absolutely. And
Yeah.
I think that's what you just said. I think is a really good point to make. Too often, kids come to high school and they think, "Oh well, I can't play at that
Yeah.
level," or "There's not a spot for me." There are a lot of sports where you should just go out there and give it a shot. You don't know.
Exactly.
Ball is fouled off and out of a play. Still a 1-2 count to Lopez. So
Speaking of that, track and field, the women just won a
District
Westco
championship, yeah.
Unbelievable.
Really?
Yeah, and that's a young team. Oh my! And the number of people who took first in their events was remarkable. So there's another sport where there's not going to be any cuts made. Get out there and try it.
And I don't know if this is true or not. Somebody saw this on Twitter, so it has to be true, right? Right.
Yeah, right.
That's what they say.
Says as he rolls his eyes. It might have been the first time we've ever won district.
I think it was
For the girls.
I do for the women. I really do think it was. We've had some unbelievably amazing track athletes, both men and women, but I don't know that we've ever won a team title, and that is great credit to the athletes and the coaches, Coach Vincent and his whole crew there. And you could kind of see this coming. Bunch of
Yes,
young kids
definitely.
last year, like big eye, but out there just doing their
What's her
thing.
name? Cheyenne?
Oh, Shanae, yeah, Okoronkwo, yeah,
Okoronkwo.
she's the deal. Let me tell you.
Phenomenal.
Possibly future Olympian. We'll see.
I wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't that be great?
Wouldn't be bad. 2-2 count, by the way. So we still have 2 on, 2 outs. Calhoun trying to get out of it. Hits the ball over to short. And here we go. Top of the 7th inning. Mount Lake Terrace 3 outs away from advancing.
Got a new pinch hitter in here, I believe.
Do we have a new pinch hitter there?
I think so. Wouldn't Megan and Bruce have been up at this point?
You are correct.
Yes,
Megan
Megan.
Bruce would have been up. And of course, the one day I do not have a roster on me, they pinch hit. Excellent. Ball is hit.
Oh.
Oh, it takes a wicked
She
bounce
gets
over
it
at third
off an
base.
error.
And she's in
Hey, it
there.
doesn't matter how you get it as
That's
long
right.
as you get
That's
there.
right.
Absolutely not. We'll find out who the batter is there for you in just a moment.
No, who's number 3? That just hit.
And that will bring up Gabby Calhoun.
On first.
Gabby single in the first, also flew out in the first,
Mystery player.
grounded out in the third, and hit a double in the 5th. Ball 1, 1-0 is the count. So we've got Renee Boss up in the booth with us. Another place you excelled last year was on the cheer team.
Yes.
And consequently, you're now cheering in college. Your cheer coach last year is somebody you know pretty well, right?
Yes, that is my sister.
Your sister, Jessica Boss, who did something that no other cheer coach has ever done at Mount Lake Terrace, as Fitzgerald pops that one up to the shortstop. That is one away, and that will bring up Maddie Christensen. Your sister took this year's cheer squad to the state tournament for the first time in school history.
Yes, yes, she did.
That had to be pretty cool for you.
Oh, that was so exciting. I just remember getting the phone call and like screaming and jumping up and down because I was so happy for her and the girls because they worked so hard to get there.
Now, I know, Vince, you might know this a little bit better than I do. I'm kind of doing this on the fly here. I know that next year, I think Marissa and Brittany from this year's cheer squad have already been named to the cheer team at Central.
That's right, yeah.
So for 2 straight years now, we've had cheerleaders go on to cheer in college.
Yeah.
That's a nice testament to your sister and what
Absolutely.
she's been able to do. Is she a pretty good coach?
She is a great coach, and I don't just say that because she's my sister, because actually it makes it harder. She works us harder, but that was her goal from the get-go, joining the high school and being a cheer coach. Is she wanted to compete and she wanted to make girls as best as they could, and I believe she's succeeding in that.
Oh, absolutely.
As we're looking at a now 3-1 count as Maddie steps at the plate. Should mention that Calhoun stole second base a couple pitches ago, so there's second and third, 1 out. And yeah, I know I actually wrote a story for the Hawkeye at the state tournament this year, and talking to some of the other coaches, as that is ball 4, and Maddie trots on down to first base, her 3rd walk of the game. That loads the bases here, and that will bring up Hannah Wilcox. 10-5 Hawks lead, only 1 out here in the 7th.
Is the 3rd base is loaded or 4th?
That's a good question. I think this is the 4th time they've been loaded
It
out.
sounds like it's. I think that's about right. Yeah, they've
We've got to do
they've-
something here, right?
They've done that a few times today.
Let's make them pay.
Ball
Let me just
bounces
tell
up
you,
1-0.
being up to bat with bases loaded multiple times is very stressful.
Well,
For you as a batter?
Yes.
Really?
The last time that she was up with the bases loaded,
Seemed
she
to
had a
work out
home
okay.
run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if I do recall before that, I was in a bit of a slump. Yeah.
And now the second game that we play, and you guys last year won that one in dramatic fashion too, beating Shorecrest, I believe, by 1 run.
Yeah.
Nice play by Aversano out in center field in the 7th inning.
Yeah.
A little thrown off there as we're trying to work on the scoreboard there. I believe it's a 1-2 count. Give a lot of credit to the Mount Lake Terrace students, as they're the ones running the scoreboard up here today too. So nice job, ladies, for doing that. Running the scoreboard on all 4 games, I might add. So so the second game last year against Shorecrest, that's a big game because you win that game and you automatically qualify for state,
Yeah.
right? Ball is hit deep again and
And I
almost
need
in the
some
exact same place. Up on the hill too at that. She really got a lot of that one. Just needs
If
to.
she just waits a half a second longer, every single ball that she hits would be over the fence.
Yep.
And she's thinking it too. You could see Hannah was kind of throwing her hands down at her side after that one, knowing that she
Yeah.
just missed getting all of that one. 2-2.
And for how much she stays inside in her swing,
Yeah.
'cause she turns a lot, pitchers still pitch her inside.
I know, isn't that crazy? Why?
I don't know.
We'll see if she gets an inside pitch this
Yeah.
time, huh? 2-2 count. Base is juiced.
Inside, change up.
Right over to third base and getting back very quickly as Calhoun, as Otto makes the quick snag out of the air at third base. Quick second out, and that will bring up Amanda Aversano, who the last 2 at-bats, this is her 3rd straight at-bat, she's come up with the bases loaded.
So stressful.
Well, here we go, folks. The bottom of the 7th inning coming up. Your Mount Lake Terrace Hawks are 3 outs away from advancing to the second round of districts. Second year in a row they've played Marysville-Pilchuck in the first round, and they're looking to make it 2 for 2. Gabby Calhoun, the freshman, looking to go the distance. Very first pitch, hit right to the second baseman, Hannah Wilcox.
Boy, you got to like that, huh, Steve?
Yeah, throws it to Fitzgerald, a very quick out. That was Carly Albertson on the play, and that will bring up the sophomore, Hannah Larson. Hey, we were just talking with Renee Boss a little bit during the break there about the difficulty of pitching back-to-back games, and we were just trying to guess or see if we can maybe predict what the Hawks are going to do in the second game, assuming they get these last 2 outs.
Yeah.
Do you?
Difficult.
What do you think? Do you think they go to maybe an Ashley Fitzgerald or a Maddie Christensen in game 2, or do you think we see Gabby out there?
I'm not sure. I haven't seen, what's her name?
Ashley, yeah.
Ashley, I've never seen her pitch. But either of them, I mean, they'll make it work. As a team, you just have to make it work, whatever the coach chooses.
How comforting was it for you when you were pitching to know that number 10 is out there at shortstop?
It's so comforting. She literally comes out of nowhere and catches everything. And that's more than anything comforting. Like, that lets me know that.
Swung on and missed. Strike 3. Hannah Larson strikes out. And that strikeout is brought to you by our, I almost said from the stripe sponsor. It's not basketball.
No, it isn't.
Our strikeout sponsor,
Yeah.
Icelandic Construction. And we are down to the final out. Well, and also, not only that, but we were talking about this earlier, the switch this year from moving Hannah Beisch from third to catcher. Now, in one regard, Hannah was also a very good third baseman last year, but it is important for you as a pitcher to have a solid catcher back there, right?
Yes, a catcher is so important. You can teach someone how to play third. You can't really teach someone in one softball season of high school how to drop and block and turn your glove over and know where pitches are going and be able to catch them at any given point with the bat swinging in front of your face. It's really hard. And I
Maddie?
give her props for doing it.
Wow.
And that
there you go.
is your ball game. The final score here, Mount Lake Terrace 11, Marysville-Pilchuck 5. We were just talking about Maddie and her glove, and she doesn't let us down that time either. And for the second straight year, the Hawks beat Marysville-Pilchuck in the first round. And for the second straight year, Renee Boss is present.
I think there's a connection there.
Yeah, standing up a little bit higher than she was last year. This year she's in a booth, and last year she was in a uniform. And what did you think? What was your overall assessment of the team?
They did great. It's when the middle of the game, when everyone's getting used to it, they need to just stay in it and tight and clean as a team. But other than that, they did great.
Yeah, and they are moving on to the second round, and we were just talking about this during the break too. The Ferndale Golden Eagles coming up, a team with a record of 20 wins and 1 loss. And I believe they scored 12 in their last game. It's the 6th time in their last 7 games that they've scored 12 runs or more.
Wow.
And, like I said before, it's the great unknown. We don't really know what their competition level is. We know they've played Oak Harbor twice. They've played Everett once this year. Won all 3 of those games, I should say, rather handily. I'm not sure what we're going to get out of this one, but that's a scary.
But if you think about it, that Enumclaw team that we played at state, they were undefeated their whole entire season until they got to state, and they were fighting for